My child is just so unbelievably stubborn. If they decide that they're not going to do something, I cannot get them to do it for anything in the world. What do I do? Sounds familiar? This video aims to share some tips and strategies and also explore the reasons behind your child's stubbornness. My name is Marlene and I'm a specialist teacher for students with specific learning difficulties. Now, the first thing to note is that your child must learn. So giving in each time that they refuse to do an essential task is just not going to work. It will have long-term implications. However, damaging your relationship with your child over things like bath time or homework time doesn't feel worth it either, does it? So how do you strike the balance? Understanding the pathological reasons behind your child's stubbornness and refusal can actually be very helpful. And now I'm not talking about just the odd, refusal here or there to test you. I'm talking about meeting refusal and stubbornness time and time again, and it's like a block and you cannot move past this wall. Most of the time, these kind of refusals, if you force a child into something, will actually lead to a complete meltdown. But this is not out of spite or willfulness. There is a deep underlying psychological fear akin to a phobia, and the meltdowns that you see are actually panic attacks. Have you ever thought about that? Now, specific learning difficulties mainly stem from a delay in executive function development. Now, executive function is kind of the brain's control room, where information is received from the senses, connections are made, and then information is sent to other parts of the brain for further processing. Now, sometimes those pathways are not developed well enough, and some of the signals can get mixed up or completely lost. And that's when we see behaviors coming to front that to us might appear like a willful stubbornness, or your child might just be, crying over everything all the time. But what may seem to us like stubbornness, your child's brain may actually be telling them, if you get into that bath, something horrible is going to happen. Or, if you get your homework wrong, mum or dad won't love you anymore. It may seem completely irrational to us, but it's very real to your child. And that fear becomes so big to them, so intense, that they would rather risk being stubborn or naughty than face that fear. Say, for example, if every time you come to bath time, you are met with stubbornness, dig deeper. And don't try and do it when your child is having a meltdown. This needs to be done on a different day, separate occasion, when your child is nice and calm and you're just having a curious talk with your child. Don't bombard them so they feel like they're on trial, but just being curious and just trying to figure out. Unpicking things would help you to discover what is the real reason why your child is acting so stubbornly over and over again. It's also really important to give your child back some sense of control. And I don't mean like, running the roost kind of control. They feel out of control already because with certain difficulties, because the brain signals don't reach where it should, they feel out of control. They're frustrated and they're scared. They need to be given something that can help them feel more in control. Otherwise, you will start to see behaviors where they seek control in other areas. So, for example, seeking to control their parents or seeking to control their sibling. And it can result in very unwanted behaviors. So if you start to give them a sense of control back in the way that you talk to them, you negotiate, it's not bribing them, negotiating an outcome or involve them in the planning thereof, it gives them that sense of control back. There isn't going to be a magic solution. You will need to find a solution that's going to help your child overcome this fear one step at a time. One way of helping them to feel more in control is by giving them choices or involving them in the planning. So take, for example, homework. You give 20 minutes of focused work. No matter how much you get done in that, there's a 20-minute cutoff point. But you need to put in the effort. Then I will spend 20 minutes of my time focused on you. So there's a compromise. They're getting that time back, especially if they know that this is more quality time. They'd be more inclined to go with this. Your second option is we do all the homework on a Saturday morning and then we spend the rest of the Saturday together. You may be highlighting the pros and the cons of both, the 20-minute a day rule versus the an hour on Saturday morning rule. Point out to them that it is the same amount of time being spent. One is being done in one chunk, one is spread over the week. You can also try the library thing, going to the library instead of doing it at home. For some children that works well. For some children it's more of a distraction. So you may have to try it out. If your child chooses the library, take it there, and very often your child will tell you, oh no, I can't work here, there's just too much distraction going on. Or, yes, this is excellent, this works much better, then I can go home and relax. Every family will be different and it will be what works for you. Now, another thing that is really important in helping your child to overcome this fear is the way that you praise them. When they do their work, praise them for their efforts and not for the outcome or their attributes. Say, for example, you say to your child, oh, good boy, you are so clever. But the child may think, oh, I'm not going to do this again. If I get it wrong next time, they will think that I'm dumb or that I'm a bad boy. I'm just not taking that risk. I'd rather be called stubborn than dumb or bad. This was not your intention, was it? Whereas if you say to your child, I really appreciate the effort that you've put into it. I know that it's not always easy for you, but all I'm asking is that you do your best. And I can see that is what you've done. That's it. Effort is something your child's got control over. By showing them that you appreciate their effort, now effort is something that they can control. And by showing them that you appreciate it, you can reward their effort and their time by devoting some of your own effort and time to them. And this kind of reward is far greater than any kind of material reward. Now, these are just some examples. You as a parent know your child best and you know what will work for your child and what won't. And you've got the advantage of trial and erroring. That's what parenting is all about. Just summarize it all. Investigate the reasons behind your child's stubbornness or constant tears and refusal, because they are merely symptoms of something lurking underneath the surface. Do understand, secondly, that a meltdown may be akin to a panic attack, and avoid reasoning with your child at all cost when they are in that state. Even negotiation shouldn't happen when they're in that state. They need to calm down first, and then you can talk about it again. It helps you to calm down as well, so that you can come back to it and talk about it in a more rational way. Thirdly, to regain a feeling of control by giving them choices and involving them in the planning. By doing this, you actually set the parameters, and by giving them just two options, but they feel that they have some control over the situation. And then finally, remember to praise their efforts and not the outcome or their attributes. Happy parenting, and remember, you are doing a great job. Take care.